Hello, this is Tamsin Astor, and I want to talk to you today about courage and the corollary fear, right? So most of us have moments where we are freaked out and we know that we need to cultivate courage to get out there. And there's been a lot of research and stuff in the public domain about the amygdala, right? And how the amygdala will hijack us. And we've all felt that feeling when our heart rate starts to go crazy, our mouth gets dry, we start to sweat. And the amygdala seems to take over what's going on in our system. So what we need to do is really figure out how to override that and whether our fear is actually a real fear or not. Is it a woolly mammoth? Is it something that we need to be acknowledging and dealing with? Or is it just a fear of putting ourselves out there and actually we can get over that and we can move through the fear? So there are a couple of different ways to do that. One way, which I really like, is to just dive into the learning. It's just to face the fear and learn more about it, because once you have knowledge, knowledge is power, you will move ahead, right? So maybe your fear is moving out of a corporate job and setting up on your own as a consultant. What do you need to do? Well, one of the ways to do that is to gather information. What do you need to set that up? What do you need legally? Do you need to set up an LLC? What kind of insurance do you need? How are you going to set up your own health insurance if you don't have health insurance? How can you blah, 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 right? Knowledge is power. Do some research. The second is to set up a fear hierarchy, which I love. So that involves looking at the fear that you have and breaking it down into little steps. So maybe your fear is, for me, I just gave my book to an editor. So a low level part of that fear is that I've actually got to produce the book. I've got to get to a point where I'm willing to have somebody else read it. So number one, produce something. Number two, reach out to editors and see what their prices are, see what their availability is, see if the kind of book that I've written is ones that they would be willing to edit. Right, I did that, number two. Number three, I committed to a deadline of submitting the manuscript to somebody, right? Number four, I've committed to having a meeting with the first conversation about the developmental editing that she's doing, right? So each time I'm ramping up and going through the hierarchy of fear. So, if you got something that you're frightened of, do you need to cultivate some courage? The word courage comes from cur, heart. So it's about finding that deep, heartfelt that will allow you to go out there and tackle something. There's a nice Nin quote about courage, which is, life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage. So, do you want a life that is expansive? Find a way of navigating that courage. Find a way of moving past that low-level brain, the amygdala, who is going to try and hijack you and make you run in the opposite direction, and run towards the thing that frightens you. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.